Mention the word underdog, and many names come to mind, but only one fits the description unlike any other. A Brooklyn kid, raised by an abusive mother, living in foster homes, correction facilities, and shelters, had a simple dream to be the very best. Before he became the predator, Kai Greene had been the prey for most of his life. And when he was about to finally make it, it all came crashing down.
2015, Mr. Olympia is fastly approaching, and I am regrettably not going to be allowed to compete.
The 5'8", 270 pounds monster brought enough mass, cuts, symmetry, and magnetic stage presence to walk away with the biggest prize in bodybuilding multiple times. Despite that, he never did. Facing the insurmountable genetic marvel that is Phil Heath, the pair went on to have the most heated rivalry in bodybuilding history.
Kai and then it switched.
From a life of crime, absolute poverty, where he had to participate in X-rated films for money, to one of the most promising names in bodybuilding, to an unjustified ban from the Olympia. This is how Kai Greene became the biggest underdog in bodybuilding.
This is not a movie. This is my life.
I was born Leslie Greene in Brooklyn, New York. The city was a different place back then. Only the strong were meant to survive. I was raised without a father and lived the early years of my life with my biological mother and younger brother.
I remember being a little boy standing there crying while I watched my biological parent fighting with a man that was going to be escorted in handcuffs. My biological parent was very strong. Yeah, she would hit and she didn't care. Biological parent was arrested. I would eventually become state star witness against my biological mother in a child abuse and neglect case. My brother and I became a ward of the state. I really didn't see myself as a tough guy. You got people standing there wanting to tease you. You get into a lot of fights, but you are labeled a behavior problem in class. There was a task force that was in the school that was trying to do something about some of the gang activity. I carried a knife with me. I had gotten into an altercation earlier that day with the teacher, and I was accused of assault. The image of a man being led out in handcuffs was me. That was my introduction into institutional facility living. That wasn't the place for me. I once held my stool for 2 weeks for fear of being caught in the bathroom alone. There will be those fights that you don't have the really awesome way of reporting.
He got into a fight and they gave him $150. $150 is when they take a razor blade and they go from, the front of your face to the back of your head. So $150 is 150 stitches.
I did push-ups any way that I could, and I got to a place where I literally tried to do 1,000 push-ups a night. I would do push-ups until I felt like I couldn't move. The teacher complimented the fact that he saw me as being very muscular. He gave me a book, the Arnold Schwarzenegger Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding. And at that time in my life, I could not read. Still believing that I could compete one day, I just started doing what I thought I needed to do. I had started trying to learn how to read, kept working out. The institution did not fight me.
I recognized the opportunity that I had available to me, the work and effort that had to go into the letter writing and the campaign to get the right powers that be to allow me the privilege of leaving the facility.
I was actually allowed to go and compete. I felt like the world had just opened up to me.
And I'd stand there on stage with teenagers that had people at home vested in seeing them succeed. And then there was you. When they announced your name, people really didn't respond very much at all because there was nobody assembled there to come and see you. There's going to be no mom, no dad. There's nobody going to be sitting in the audience proud of you, but you were proud.
I've learned a trick
I can be whatever I say I want to be.
Yeah, I was about 14 or so. It was the first time in my life that I ever experienced a success that had nothing to do with my pedigree, where I came from, just my own ability to work really hard. I could achieve something that was in my own hands to do. And that was one thing that I really appreciated about this experience from the beginning.
At 16, I was over 200 pounds. People would mistake me for being an adult. And it made it easier to kind of walk into like situations that you wouldn't expect for a 16-year-old.
He had tough circumstances. I mean, there's stories where he was basically living in a gym, eating just cans of tuna to live on for many years.
He was homeless, man. Moving around, I stayed with people. We lived in a building that was condemned. We didn't have electricity.
I lived somewhere between the runaway shelter, getting a meal in the cafeteria, sleeping on the train, and riding everywhere in New York. What do I do for a living, and how do I support myself?
Desperate to make a living, Kai was recruited by a counselor at one of the shelter houses he frequented to work as a stripper.
I discovered that I was very easily seduced by the applause from the audience and the approval of the audience. I could thrive on it. You work and you do that while you still continue to develop yourself as an athlete.
At 21, Kai won the World Natural Bodybuilding Federation's 1996 Pro Natural World Contest and followed it with a stellar season in '97, where he entered 4 shows at the premier amateur organization, National Physique Committee, or NPC, placing either first or second.
Welcome to the Twin Lab NPC Team Universe Bodybuilding Championship. This native New Yorker posing in front of his hometown is going to bring this house down. He's the man we've been talking about, the man in contention for this event. At 224 pounds and only 5'8", Kai Greene could very well take Skip LaCour for this championship, Steve.
The men's overall trophy to Kai Greene.
There it is, Steve. Kai Greene wins the overall championship in fabulous form. Granted, he's not Team USA captain, but you think he'll do well at the World Championships.
He could only manage a 6th place at the IFBB World Championships. And despite recognizing that it was a respectable placing out of dozens of the world's best competitors, he was still disappointed that he couldn't earn his pro card. And so he decided to take a hiatus from competing. During his 4 years off, Kai went back to school and focused on developing his talent as an artist. He continued intense training in a humble Brooklyn gym, treating bodybuilding as both therapy and art. In 2004, it was brought up that the NPC Team Universe, the same show he'd won back in '99, had become a pro qualifier for the IFBB. And although he'd been away from the competitive scene for a while, Kai made a commitment to himself that he would return to reclaim his title as Team Universe overall champion and ascend to the IFBB pro ranks. In August, Kai returned with a dramatically improved physique, winning the heavyweight and overall titles once again and finally earning his pro card. But it wasn't going to get any easier from here.
I am who I am, and I'm the supernatural, and we'll show it tonight.
Kai's first year as a pro was essentially baptism by fire. He made his pro debut at the 2005 New York Pro, where he landed in 14th place. A humbling first outing that underscored his jump from NPC success to IFBB depth. 2006 wasn't any kinder to him either. Kai failed to place at both the Ironman Pro and the New York Pro. And he was struggling financially, which led him to make a decision that would haunt him for the rest of his professional career. During his exotic dancing years, in order to make enough money, he participated in an erotic softcore video that later became infamous in bodybuilding circles as the Grapefruit video.
Oh, no.
As the name suggests, the video shows Kai engaging in an intimate activity with a grapefruit.
You're having fun with a grapefruit.
I know there's another half of that f***ing grapefruit somewhere. I'm gonna find that shit.
Oh my God! You want me to get the dude? I'm in the grapefruits now. You ain't hear about me?
It wasn't the only clip he'd done. But this one in particular circulated online years later while Kai was already rising as a Mr. Olympia contender, shifting public conversation around him for a time. Forum chatter about the clip existed by 2010, with one forum member claiming that he got punched 4 times in the hip by one of Kai's security guards after taking a picture with Kai while holding a grapefruit. The breakout of the video sparked controversy and gossip as some fans and media question whether an Olympia ambassador should have a clip like that in his past. Although no proven sanction or judging penalty was tied to the video, some people in the bodybuilding community still speculate that the video affected judging outcomes and hurt his chances of ever winning Mr. Olympia.
It's like you have to save your own life. Nobody's going to be able to save it for you. So we have to do what we have to do, no matter what it is.
Still, exotic dancing and erotic videos weren't providing a sustainable income for the rising pro. But before the end of the 2006 season, he would finally get his breakthrough.
I think my breakout show was the Colorado Pro 2006.
Rodney St. Cloud had approached me about doing a posing routine together on stage. There was a $10,000 prize up for the best posing routine. Rodney had made the top 6 in that show. So after the prejudging, he was told, leave that monkey shit to Kai to do.
Kai would finish 14th in this show, while first place went to a rookie making his pro debut this year by the name of Phil Heath. On the bright side, Kai won the Best Poser award and became $10,000 richer and eventually shared some of the money with Rodney.
He was about to quit bodybuilding when he did the Sean Ray Pro Classic in 2006. I made sure the top 10 guys got paid and I had a $10,000 award. Thank God that Kai knew how to pose. After the contest, he broke down and cried on my shoulder, and he said, I'm glad that you had this Best Poser award because I have $7 in my pocket and going home to New York, I wouldn't know what I was going to do with the rest of my life.
This season is often cited by reporters as the before snapshot in Kai's career, and 2007 was the year when everything would change. Kai's structure and posing were there, but he needed more overall size and polish to contend with the era's top-tier pros. Kai claimed he was still competing as a natural up until 2006, but in 2007, he decided to even the playing field.
After placing last over and over again, I had to make some tough decisions. I had to do what I had to do. I had to improve whatever it took to get the qualification for the Olympia. I never wanted to take steroids. Being unenhanced was important to me, at least at that point in my life.
To be straight up, his career shifted like everyone knew when he started taking something. It was just a matter of time.
His breakthrough performance came at the 2007 New York Pro, where he wowed the crowd with a groundbreaking posing routine and a physique that had many believing he could have placed higher than his 6th place finish, which he did at the Keystone Pro, where he came in 3rd. Only a week later, with the hype on his side after his impressive performance, he returned to the same show where he'd finished 14th last year, scoring his first ever pro victory after 2 tough seasons. Now hitting his stride, Kai made his Arnold Classic debut in 2008. He edged out the clear-cut favorite Branch Warren, but finished behind Phil Heath in 2nd and Dexter Jackson, validating the momentum from late 2007 and establishing himself as a true threat. 2009 came by, and Kai wanted to start the season with a bang. He was preparing for the most pivotal contest in his 15 years of competition. Poised to be the next Mr. Olympia after a very controversial 2nd place to Jay Cutler in 2007, Victor Martinez announced his return at the 2009 Arnold Classic after a 1-year layoff from bodybuilding. And with other names like Branch Warren and Tony Freeman participating, Kai had to take his preparation to the next level. This preparation was documented by Dave Palumbo, who made the trip to New York to film it.
Kai greeted me at the door and said, we have to go get something to eat. We have no food. This is the famous piss-smelling elevator. And he's right, it does smell piss. So we proceeded to go shopping at the corner grocery store. Of course, Kai had to walk down there because he doesn't own a car. And I offered to pay for his food. His face lit up, and I realized at that very moment that this was a man who was living on a limited budget. He didn't have the money. He had just lost his supplement contract that he had gotten he'd only had for about 6 months. He was a man now who was, preparing for the biggest bodybuilding show of his life. He didn't have any income coming in. I don't know a better underdog story than this man. Kai wasn't sad over it, that he wasn't bitching about it, that he wasn't complaining about it, and he was kind of happy in a sense to be doing what he loved. This guy is literally the Rocky of bodybuilding, and he trains in the rockiest gym you can ever find. He wanted us to take the subway to go there, and I insisted on driving. Kai, every day, takes the bus to the subway. It doesn't bother him. He sometimes walks miles to get where he needs to go. Is this guy hungrier than everyone else?
No, he's not hungry. He's starving.
Let's go wild for a second. Let's pretend you win the Arnold Classic.
A check for $130,000.
You take home a nice paycheck for $130,000. What would change in your life if you won that show?
I told you just backstage that you are the best poser I've ever seen.
I have nothing to say. Yes, I wanted to thank everybody for coming out and thank everybody that believed in me.
To fans, he was more than just a behemoth crunching poses on stage. He was one of them, a real rags to riches story unfolding before everyone's eyes. An underdog who came from nothing and managed to become the second fastest rising star on the circuit. Some fans, however, didn't have the same perception of the man who was the fastest rising star at the time.
At a show in Denver, I was a guest poser. I think it was around 2003, and I saw this kid with these crazy arms, and he had just come off playing Division I basketball at the University of Denver, and he wanted to compete. He was financially strapped a little bit. He was working as a trainer at Bally's, and next thing you know, I said, "Listen, I can help you." Got him a contract by the next Monday, and he was paid to be a bodybuilder through the Weider organization. And I remember Sunday I reached out to Peter McGough at Flex Muscle and Fitness at the time, and I said, "Hey man, I just found the next Mr. Olympia." He's probably, I would say, the most genetically gifted.
Yes. Already being scouted by one of the top bodybuilders in the industry after his very first amateur showing, and a Weider contract offered Phil Heath a fast track into bodybuilding stardom. To most, the college-educated shooting guard who double majored in IT and business didn't sound as relatable as the kid who grew up in foster care and could barely read. People thought Phil had it easy, winning every single contest he entered from 2003 to 2006, earning his pro card after just 3 years, winning his pro debut, and having access to more opportunities. Regardless of what people thought, the gift deserved every last bit of hype he received. The hardworking genetic marvel was the biggest hurdle Kai had to face. If he could take on Phil Heath, nothing else could stand between him and the Sandow he'd always longed for.
The IFBB gold medal, take it to Dexter Jackson!
Dexter Jackson dethroned Jay Cutler at the 2008 Olympia, while Phil Heath shocked the sport with third in his Olympia debut, immediately framing him as a future champion. That pecking order set the stakes for 2009. Could Jay reclaim? Would Dexter repeat? Was Phil about to surge? Or will Kai defy all the expectations? The media billed 2009 as one of the deepest, most open fields in years. Kai arrived at this year's Olympia with fresh momentum after winning the Arnold Classic and then the Australian Grand Prix in March, and his stock had never been higher heading into what would be his Olympia debut. Jay walked out looking like a man who wanted nothing more than to regain his title. He was dramatically improved, showcasing his best physique ever, and the show crystallized around his return to form. Phil suffered a stomach virus hours before prejudging, and EMTs were called in. As a result, he dropped about 8 pounds before taking the stage. He managed to show up much fuller and tighter for the finals, but it was clear he wasn't going to deal any damage. Poised to overtake the gift for third, Kai was a touch sharper at the Arnold, but he showcased deep quad separation, back width that popped in the rear shots. Phil slipped into 5th place, as Kai took 4th directly behind defending champ Dexter Jackson, with 2nd place being occupied by the contest's dark horse, Branch Warren, while Jay Cutler became the first man to retrieve the title after losing it. His 4th place on his debut proved that Kai belonged in the top echelon, while Phil had the lone off year of his prime, but he would be sure to come back more fierce than ever before.
The placing on record that says 4th. If you were to ask a person honestly, hey, did you do this for that placing 4th? The answer that resonates loudest, at least in my heart right now, is no.
The Olympia is behind us. We're getting ready for the Arnold Classic 2010. We're about 5 weeks out. I'm excited.
This year's Arnold Classic was the spark that lit the Kai-Phil rivalry. In a decision that brought a roar from the Veterans Memorial Auditorium, Kai was announced the 2010 Arnold Classic defending champion, edging Phil Heath, who was primed to walk away with the title.
I was up by 3 after prejudging. I lost by 7, which is a 10-point swing. I don't know how the judges got that one wrong. That makes no sense, by the way.
Yeah.
It's the largest point swing in bodybuilding history, just for context, in a one-day show, 6 hours apart. And I was not happy with that because I wanted that Arnold Classic. You know, instead of like bitching and moaning and going up to a judge and saying, what could I do? I was like, I know what I need to do. And that's just become so great that he'll never stand a chance.
The Arnold Classic victory was exactly the kind of upset that makes a September rematch irresistible. Going into this year's Olympia, Kai was the most hyped athlete coming in, but unfortunately, he didn't live up to that hype. According to some reports, Kai weighed around 284 pounds, and it was clear that he was trying to match Jay for size. Eventually, it backfired. He did his trademark theatrical entrance, but his routine felt less dynamic without peak conditioning behind it, as he was holding water, especially in his midsection. His delts also seemed very smooth, and he lacked overall separation in lines. Although he tightened up by finals, it was already too late.
Our 7th place finisher this evening, the Predator Kai Greene.
I don't want to play anymore. I am upset. I am unprepared to deal with what appears to be failure.
His disappointing 7th place drop punctured the Kai might dethrone Jay right now narrative. And while he underdelivered, Phil vaulted to runner-up behind Jay. After edging out Phil 2 times in a row, the script was flipped when it mattered the most. But this seesaw made next year's Olympia all the more anticipated. By 2011, the first phase of the Kai Greene comeback was in the books. Striving to qualify for the Olympia this year, he eyed the New York Pro, but not before making a much-needed change first. He switched from longtime mentor Oscar Arden to prep coach George Farah ahead of the new season, and stepped on the New York Pro stage with renewed confidence and self-belief. With freaky mass and striations the rest of the lineup couldn't match, Kai cruised to his 2nd New York Pro title, securing his place on the Olympia roster.
The fans are chanting out there that you may be the next Mr. Olympia.
Do you think you can top your shape from the New York Pro?
Yes. Your own trainer came out and said, as good as Kai is here, he's only 90%. So if that's 90%, what's 100% going to look like tomorrow?
We'll show you.
The gift informs me that he is in his all-time best shape. Will the student beat the teacher, or will a predator emerge? Kai Greene, rumored to be at his all-time best, and his seek to revenge on this Olympia stage for last year.
The defending champ still possessed elite width and presence, but a left bicep tear 3 weeks out left the insertion inflamed, which capped his ceiling at 2nd. The Predator came in with a new weapon, a smaller waist. Unlike last year, he didn't push to extreme levels in the offseason in terms of weight. He showcased his trademark leg density and separation, dramatic width and back shots, and a big, full look that played well in comparisons. Unfortunately, he wasn't quite razor sharp and was a touch less crisp than his very best, which mattered with Phil peaking perfectly. The Gift's trademark 3D pop cannonball delts, round arms, and full chest looked on from the jump. his improved rear shots overwhelmed the field. Even his narrow clavicles vanished under those delts, and his most muscular pose sealed it.
Third place finisher, the Predator, Kai Greene.
The weekend codified the hierarchy. Phil ascendant, Kai the clear number 3 with momentum, and Jay, hampered but still elite, yielding the crown. From 7th in 2010 to Olympia podium in 2011, and with Sheru Classic being Jay Cutler's last competition before his 2013 comeback, Kai firmly re-entered the title conversation and set the stage for the official start of the Kai-Phil rivalry. With no Jay Cutler in the 2012 lineup, the title picture narrowed around the reigning champ and the chief threat. During preparation for the 2012 Olympia, the docudrama Generation Iron, released a year later, began filming, explicitly following the top pros as they trained and clashed at the Olympia, with the film positioning Heath versus Greene as the modern successor to the Arnold versus Lou storyline from Pumping Iron. That camera lens turned their sporting rivalry into a mainstream narrative and invited fans to pick sides. The film leaned towards the privileged versus underdog narrative, highlighting Kai's underprivileged background and casting him as the grinding people's champion chasing the crown, while Phil was villainized and positioned as the Goliath to be toppled. Crosscuts emphasized Phil's polished champion aura versus Kai's blue-collar grind and philosophy, an editorial contrast that made picking sides feel natural to audiences.
Like I said, after Generation Iron, a lot of people had opinions about me that I felt like was very interesting. I remember seeing the 2 movie premieres in LA and New York, and I was like, man, this is dope. And I remember my coach, Honey Ramba, pulls me aside. He goes, this isn't good. I go, what are you talking about? He goes, no, it's a good film. But I think people are going to look at you as the villain. They made it seem like you had everything, and I know your upbringing. You worked for everything, and they made it seem like you just, you're driving the Bentley, you got the house, you got 2 houses, you got the, you know what I mean?
Meanwhile, Kai's living in this like one
which is
bedroom.
Complete bullshit. Phil, you have to realize they didn't tell you that this is a docudrama. The day after it released, Bob Cigarillo was actually hosting the Generation Iron premiere, and I sat front row and I heard everything everyone had to say. Fucking douchebag, piece of shit. Like, how did I affect your life like this? Last night you were cheering for me, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, you appreciate what I had. So I stand up, with the microphone in my hand. I go, hey, how many of you guys liked it? And some people were like, yeah. And they're like, I was like, you guys thought I was an asshole? People were like, yeah. And I'm like, whoa, like, hey, fucking dick. Guy said it. And I was like,
being in the spotlight, we felt even more pressure going into this Olympia. Phil had a lot to prove as the current champion.
I better kick the shit out of this dude, because the last thing I want to do is be a one-hit wonder, man. Because if I lose this, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it back. I didn't believe that it was going to be one of those situations where he would win one year, I would win the next. Whoever wins this particular year is just going to go.
My A game is enough to do a lot of damage.
If you and Phil Heath are 100% on game day, who wins?
I expect to be last man standing.
Heading into the final showdown, Phil had a slight lead, and Kai had to work twice as hard in the finals if he wanted to dethrone the newly crowned champ. The gift showcased round, full delts and arms sitting on dense pecs, a tight waist, and an improved, thicker mid-back that showed through in the rear poses. He had obvious chest and shoulder density and separation. Up close, his muscle bellies looked fuller and higher definition than anyone else on stage. From the back, he wasn't necessarily wider than Kai, but the detail and density through the mid-back and lower traps gave him the edge in the callouts. He peaked across both nights. Full, hard, balanced, with enough back detail and upper body roundness to keep clear daylight on the scorecards.
There was a moment where Kai and I are posing. I look like this, and I'm kind of like looking at the glutes, because it's kind of like letting the judges know he ain't got what I got. There's a picture of him like looking at it, he was gonna punch me. You know what it did? That was the no flinch with Matt Barnes versus Kobe. So I was like, yes, I got him. Now I'm in his head.
Kai brought a broad V-taper, sweeping quads and deep hamstring detail, with serious back width that read especially well from a few rows back. As prejudging wore on, he grew stronger in comparisons, leveraging width, legs, and stage presence. Up top, he was very sharp, but a little less dry than the absolute best versions of himself. Although he lacked upper body density, he was still huge, detailed, and commanding. But was that enough to dent Phil's Friday lead? This was up to the judges.
2012 Mr. Olympia, Phil Heath.
I was unable to knock him out. I tried.
I know that pissed him off because like that was the year. Even myself, I was like, if I don't come in ready, this fool is gonna come get my ass.
The rivalry wasn't at its peak yet, but it was just the beginning.
Coming off the 2012 Olympia, Kai and Phil were the two men everyone circled for 2013. The rivalry also had a megaphone, Generation Iron, which hit U.S. theaters 1 week before the Olympia, framing Kai as the underdog artist and Phil as the reigning standard, and fans ate it up. The film's timing and narrative turned their Vegas rematch into a mainstream event.
Did I not see you sign the poster that said Kai Greene, Mr. Olympia underneath it?
Yes, you did.
I'm like, it's front and center, so people are gonna sign like maybe the leg or this and that. This fool like took on the face. I'm like, oh, it's like that. And he wrote Mr. Olympia. I'm like, okay. How many times did he do it? For like a whole row of them. I'm like, oh, he's trying to send a message.
He can sign whatever the hell he wants. I mean, it doesn't really matter to me. Obviously, I didn't care. All I care about is winning my third title, creating this legacy that I want to live, and crushing everybody's dreams. Just like that. My best will always be good enough. It'll always be better. And if anyone wants to challenge it, well, we'll see you on stage come Friday night. You guys better get your ass there, because it's going to be a battle.
Just like last year, many had Kai and Phil as the clear winners. While the top two seemed to be sewn up, the rest of the top six were a little hazy. A returning Jay Cutler settled into 6th place, with the Blade ahead of him in 5th. Sean Roden dropped 1 place from last year, landing in 4th, while last year's 6th placer Dennis Wolf achieved his first and only Olympia podium finish, leaving Kai and Phil to lock horns for first once again.
Your 2013 Mr. Olympia, 3-time Mr. Olympia, Phil Heath!
The 2013 Arnold Classic Europe held in Madrid served as a direct Olympia rematch 2 weeks later, with the top 4 repeated in the same order as Vegas, reinforcing the 2013 hierarchy and keeping the rivalry hot rolling in the next season, where it would reach its boiling point.
Mr. Greene signed the poster again with the 2014 Mr. Olympia. I mean, let's be serious. I mean, having you learn from last year what you did.
He's gonna retire.
Retired? What is that? Oh, Mr. George Farrell. Oh, speak up. This guy. We've done our talk and we've earned 3 Sandowns. I mean, to your 0, George.
In the future, though, you don't need to address George in the audience because you won't stand on stage against George. I represent what George is bringing. Just making sure you do what you're supposed to do.
It felt like high school when everybody's like, fight, 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 fight.
I'll tell you this, I want you to be just as gracious on Sunday. I can't wait to hear this on Sunday. This is right. I want to look through your eyes on Sunday. Your greatness is Sunday.
He's then going to try to probably say something at this press conference. Why? Because that's what I would do.
I'm dedicating this Olympia win to my late father, Don Heath, who passed away in March.
That's what the first 3 should have been. That's what the first 3 should have been. I respect your father. I respect anyone who's had a father. I didn't have one.
You know what? You talked about the past your whole entire career making excuses. You think you're the only person that's ever gone through something you want.
Excuses?
Give me 3 facts as to why you will be Phil Heath on Saturday night.
Fact 1, we'll outweigh him by 40 pounds. Fact 2, we'll be white. Fact 3, it's all over from the rear. How about that? Is that 3, Phil?
Phil, give me 3 facts as to why Kai can't beat you on stage. 2011, 2012, 2013.
I gave him what he needed at the press conference and he had nothing to say after that. And that's when I knew the only thing left was for him to try to do something physical.
Kai's hair just hit Phil.
It's kind of funny
because I'm like, did I just get hit with a braid?
Spread out, gentlemen. Hey, oh.
You would be able to hear Steve Weinberger's voice get elevated, and they turn the music up louder.
Spread out. Spread out. Kai and Dennis switch. Kai and Dennis switch.
And then I realized 2 big ass dudes oiled up in posing trunks supposed to fight.
All right, folks, we've reached that point in the night. It is time for awards. If I can have Kai Greene and Phil Heath in the center, please. The first place award to Mr. Olympia, 4-time Mr. Olympia, Phil Heath!
We got a lot to process. You know, I still have a lot to be grateful for, and I'm in a wonderful position.
Some attributed Kai's loss to the fight with Phil. Some attributed it to how the IFBB would never allow him to win with his previous exotic activities. And others simply thought he was no match for the gift.
Gosh, all he had to do was be who he was when he did those Arnold Classics and the 2012 Olympia, and he might have got me. Kai Greene is probably the most dense bodybuilder we have ever seen. That includes Coleman.
I'm going to ask you, I'm going to put you on the spot, and I'm going to ask you, what year did you think you won the Mr. Olympia? And that could be several, but I know you can tell me at least 1 year.
I don't know.
We had Kai Greene on the podcast a few weeks ago, and I could not get him to tell me what show he thought he beat you at.
Because he didn't.
Kai's belief in the IFBB withered, but his belief in himself didn't. He was still determined to chase the title, no matter what. Not since Ronnie and Jay has bodybuilding ever seen such a heated rivalry, and the 2015 Phil Kai Showdown was supposed to be the pinnacle of this rivalry. But the powers that be would deprive bodybuilding fans of it.
2015 Mr. Olympia is fastly approaching, and I am regrettably not going to be allowed to compete. Let me just say, behind the scenes, there is just so much more things that are going on than I'm at liberty to share with you. I've invested more than 20 years of my life in the belief and the idea of being able to come to the Olympia and to do an absolute best despite whatever the opposition. You don't get this far and just stop. It doesn't happen like that.
Fans speculated that Kai was banned from the competition, and the IFBB was quick to deny these claims. Olympia promoter Robin Chang stated that Kai had been sent the standard competitor contract in April, missed the initial return deadline, asked for and got an extension into early July, and still didn't send it back. Chang said he repeatedly reminded Kai and his camp that without a signed contract, he couldn't be put on posters or on stage. From the official side, there was no change in terms, no special clause, and certainly no incentive to ban a top draw. The organizers insisted the decision not to compete was effectively Kai's because the paperwork never arrived. At the same time, Kai was launching his own supplement company, Dynamic Muscle, and held his own fan event in Las Vegas.
Kai Greene here, and I'm excited to announce to you that my company, Dynamic Muscle, is coming to bodybuilding.com.
No Olympia stage or expo appearance, and a packed independent event across town convinced many that a business conflict was central to the story. Fans even started a petition on change.org in hopes of reversing IFBB's decision. While nothing was confirmed at the time, Kai later confirmed that a business conflict was indeed the reason. Launching Dynamic Muscle while still under a Weider agreement triggered legal action over starting a competitive venture, and certain contractual privileges were withheld, effectively preventing him from competing at that Olympia. Coming out of the 2015 dispute, Kai pivoted hard to business and appearances while keeping his competitive options open. In 2016, he made a return to the stage when he won 3 Arnold Classic contests, re-establishing himself as the most dominant non-Olympia headliner of 2016. While he didn't compete in the 2016 Olympia, IFBB Pro League president Jim Mannion publicly offered Kai a special Olympia invitation in 2017, which he declined. Even in 2019, and under a new Olympia leadership, Dan Solomon said the event would welcome Kai and that the ball is in his court. Speculation about another invite swirled, but Kai still chose not to compete. It was clear by this point that Kai had moved on from the stage entirely, and despite numerous rumors and hints over the years of a comeback that would occasionally get fans hyped, no comeback ever materialized. In 2017, Kai had become the first bodybuilder since Arnold to sign with a major Hollywood agency. The move formalized a career shift from contest prep to screen work and broadened his slate beyond fitness media.
This is Sunshine, our warrior. Don't let his eyes frighten you. Fancy teddy bear.
Nice to meet you, Miss J.
Kai's artist identity moved on from posing routines to literal canvas even before he left the Olympia scene. And after his unofficial retirement, he took it a step further with the launch of his graphic novel, Chronicles of King Kai.
Kai Greene gets credit from me because he was the first athlete in the IFBB to call me after I lost in 2018. And he was the only one. He was the only one that picked up the phone. And we talked at length. The person who knows me the most is the one that I battled against the most. And he basically gave me some much needed words. Phil, they didn't beat Phil that I know. They beat an injured one.
Even without a Mr. Olympia title, Kai's legacy in bodybuilding is firmly established. He's often regarded as one of the best to never win it, mentioned in the same breath as legends like Flex Wheeler and Kevin Levrone. And to this day, the uncrowned king remains bodybuilding's biggest what if. A perfect underdog story that perhaps didn't conclude in the way he wanted, but certainly ended the way he deserves, among the greatest of the sport and as the people's champion.